everybody today? Well, you know, I was really pleased with the way our guys responded and competed in the last game. I think they really kind of answered the bell in terms of the effort that we played with, the toughness that we played with. Even though we have some things to clean up, and things didn't go well early in the game for us in terms of a few drop balls, turned the ball over a couple times, didn't have the kind of ball security that we'd like to have. I think the lesson to be learned there is if you can compete well and you just play the next play, that, you know, sometimes you can miss a 4-foot putt and still win. And that's what I was really pleased with, the way our team sort of, you know, just kept playing in the game and really did a nice job on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Obviously have some things that we need to clean up on defense. They had some plays open for us, and we got to play with a little bit more consistency still in the back, and we'll keep on, you know, working on that. I think the key thing for this team is to continue to try to create an identity for themselves in terms of the consistency that they can compete with. It's always great to come back home and play, you know, at home, but you know, I think Arkansas is, you know, one of the most challenging teams that we played this year, especially in their ability to run the ball. Their offensive line does a great job. They've got two really good running backs that have been very, very productive, and it doesn't matter what who their opponent has been and what they've tried to do. They have been able to run the ball effectively on each and every team that they've played. And they're very capable of making plays in the passing game, so this is very, very challenging. Their defense has been very opportunistic in terms of the way they've created negative plays, pressured the quarterback, gotten sacks. They have very good specialists, punter, kicker, you know, do a good job on special teams. You know, I think, you know, Brett has really done a really good job there of getting these guys to play hard and compete and play with a lot of toughness. And you know, he's been a very successful coach. We have a tremendous amount of respect for him and the staff that they have. This is certainly going to be, you know, our biggest test that we've had in terms of some of the challenges that they present to us.
Starting with Andrew.
I was going to ask about Ashawn Robinson. Just going back to when you recruited him and were able to land him here, what did you see from him in this? Was this the position you expected him to play when you saw him in high school?
Well, I think that what we saw in him was, you know, a very big athletic guy that had tremendous potential, very good football player in high school, very good basketball player, you know, all-around athlete. And, you know, we didn't know how he would develop. We're very pleased with the way he's developed. I think he's played better each and every week that he's gained confidence in what's expected of him and what his assignments are, and plays faster. But he's a big, powerful guy that does a really good job of pushing the pocket in the middle, and that's something that we really, really need. So he's fit a need for us, and he's done a nice job of working hard to improve. And I think some of the other older players on the team have certainly enhanced his development with their leadership and the example that they set, and how they've sort of kind of adopted him and helped them to continue to improve.
Eric?
Coach, I'm watching the film, the fumbles, was it a technique thing, or was it maybe guys giving extra effort and being vulnerable as the play was coming to a close?
Well, I think probably more than anything, technique. You know, took a handoff and put the ball in the wrong arm, then tried to change it, got hit when we were changing it. Another time, guys carrying the ball a little bit low and trying to give some extra effort and just sort of lost it. So uncharacteristic for our backs, but something that we certainly need to work on.
Michael? Six games in, halfway through, is there certain things, specific things that need improvement overall, just at the mid-season point?
Well, I don't think that, you know, we've played our best game by any stretch of the imagination, so I think there's a lot of things that we can improve on. Obviously, we haven't gotten a lot of turnovers on defense. I think there's times when we've given up too many big plays, you know, on defense. Offensive line has done a nice job of making steady improvement. That's going to be something that I think is critical to continued success as we play better and better defensive teams, especially in the front seven. Kicking game has been good for us, but I just think that, you know, there's a lot of areas of that we can continue to try to improve so that we get the kind of consistency in the kicking game that we need. Especially, they've done a pretty good job so far. The teams have been pretty decent so far, but I think that, you know, as soon as you don't do something exactly right on special teams, you know, you're vulnerable to giving up a big play. So I would be easier to answer that question if you said, is there anything we don't need to improve on? Because I think there's a lot of things that we can improve on.
Back left, Jeff.
Nick, a couple of things. Can you update us on the status of Clinton Dix and how he has handled this difficult circumstance?
Well, I can update you because we don't have any new information. When we get new information, we'll certainly be glad to give it to you. I think he's, you know, done as good a job in trying to practice and continue to improve and working in practice on the scout team as anyone could. I'm sure it's a difficult circumstance. Nobody that is a true competitor likes not to be there for his teammates, and you know, Ha has been that kind of player for us. But there's also the point that, you know, you've got to make good choices and decisions about what you do, and when you don't do the right things, there are consequences that we all have to suffer through. So hopefully this will be a great learning experience for not only Ha, but you know, each and every player on our team.
Also, Tiger Woods talks about grinding in the course of a round, you know, the effort, the intensity that he puts into it. Is that the way you feel kind of during a football game? And after a game, are you totally spent because you coached so hard?
Well, you know, you can look at that a lot of different ways. You know, you can grind through the day, you can grind through the week, you can grind through the season, you can grind through the game. But, you know, I think the way we try to approach it is not really in a negative way. I mean, it's each of these things are a challenge, and you're always focused on the next play, the next situation, the next thing that you need to do that day, whether it's in preparation or in practice or whatever it is, to try to give your, you know, team the best opportunity, the best chance to be successful. So I think sometimes, you know, if you have or get these high expectations and you get really result-oriented, that everything becomes a grind because you put a lot of pressure on yourself. And we've tried not to do that with our players. We try not to do that ourselves, and try to stay focused on the process of things that we can do to, you know, affect or enhance our chances of being successful in a positive way. And that's what, you know, myself, our staff, and players, I hope, continue to do.
Up front here, Mark.
What do you see from Landon and his technique at free safety, and what are some specifics he needs to improve on in that position?
Well, you know, Landon is getting more and more comfortable playing the position. Certainly made improvement in this game. I think when he's certain of what he's doing, not just assignment, I think he knows the assignments, but I'm talking about has had enough repetition at the position to feel confident about what he's keying, how he's supposed to react, where he's supposed to go. He plays very fast and is very effective. And, you know, we just like to get that to where it's happening on a consistent basis. And I think that that's only going to happen through more repetition and more knowledge and experience in terms of playing the position every day.
In the middle, Bob.
Hey, Coach, I'm Bob Wolf from the Arkansas Durham Gazette, so I had a couple of Arkansas-related questions. It looks like Darius Philon's going to start for Arkansas. I know you guys recruited him. Just wondered if you'd talk about him as a player, what you're seeing from him in Arkansas, and talk about his recruitment.
Well, you know, we think a lot of, you know, Darius. He was a very, very good high school player, had great quickness, played in a really good program, and we certainly thought a lot of him, and not surprised at all that he's done extremely well at Arkansas and that he's playing well for them, and may have an opportunity to start this week. And we'd love to have him in our program here. It didn't work out that way for us, and as everybody that we recruit, you know, we want to see him do well wherever they end up going, and he's certainly done a really good job there, and we're really happy for him and his family.
I also wanted to ask you about Tenpenny, you know, how's he doing, and what's his freshman year been like? What are you looking for him the rest of the year?
Right, Alte's done a really good job for us. He's played on several special teams and does a really good job in that regard. He's got to play some and plays fast and is explosive. And I just think that, you know, with a lot of the freshmen, you know, they have high expectations for what they want to accomplish. But I think the realization of what they need to do to improve every day to become complete players at their position is really critical to their development. I think he's done a good job of that, but I also think, as with most freshmen who are playing, they have a lot to learn, and the more experience they get, obviously the better opportunity they have to do that and to improve and get better. But we're very pleased that with his progress this year, and hopefully he'll continue to do that and can be a significant player for us in the future.
You beat Arkansas 52-0 last year. They got beat 52-7 last week. I mean, is it hard to get your guys ready for that? Are they going to overlook them? So what's your take on giving those two results?
Well, we really, you know, don't really want to look at those results. You know, we'd rather look at, you know, technically what they're capable of doing and what they've done well, you know, as a team. I think the game last week was, they still ran the ball effectively. They had a couple long runs where they fumbled the ball at the end of the runs. The games might have been completely different. And, you know, we're more concerned about how we play, how we progress, how we improve as a team, and have total respect, you know, for Arkansas's players, what their capabilities are. I'm sure we'll get their best game. I think they're very well coached, and I think it's going to take a very good effort on our part, because this is really different than anything that we've played against so far this year in terms of how they run the ball and, you know, the sort of formations and heavy formations they get in to do it. So this is going to be a physical challenge, you know, for us. And because they made a lot of explosive plays defensively, when I say explosive plays, I'm talking about tackles for losses, sacks, those types of things. You know, if you don't do a really good job of executing offensively, they're going to take advantage of it. So, you know, we're concerned about the identity and the improvement that our team makes, and we certainly respect every opponent that we play, and certainly have a lot of respect for Arkansas because we've had a lot of really tough games.
DC? Seems like there's been a few slow starts, and then the second quarter comes, and you guys have been overwhelming teams. Did the starts concern you at all, and what sort of turned the switch from first quarter to second quarter?
Well, you know, I think it's a total misconception that we didn't start the game well. Like most people in the world, people are all result-oriented. Because we moved the ball down the field 3 times in a row and dropped the pass on third down and fumbled it twice, you know, once on the 5-yard line, once on the 15-yard line or whatever. My question is, how did we get there to start with? Did we play horribly bad to move the ball down the field and get it to the 5-yard line? So was it a slow start, or was it just a matter of 2 turnovers and a dropped third down that we stopped ourselves in 3 circumstances? So I didn't think we started off slow. I just didn't think we finished the drives like we needed to cash in. So I think we went 3 and out several times on defense. So I'm not sure they started slow either. But like everybody in the world, you know, when you don't get the results, when you don't get the immediate self-gratification, instant coffee, instant tea, instant everything, you know, it's bad. The bad thing were the fumbles and the drop balls. So you got to be technical about what was bad. Just because we didn't score the first 3 times we had the ball, even though we moved the ball down the field, doesn't necessarily mean it was all bad. But I fully expect that to be the reaction.
At different times of this season, we've asked you about every position on the offensive line except right guard. Would you talk about Anthony Steve's consistency, I guess,
Yeah,
and his
I
development?
forgot to mention the players of the week. You know, Kevin Norwood, Anthony Steen, who was the SEC lineman of the week, and C.J. Mosley, Nashawn Robinson on defense, and Kate Foster, Christian Jones, Alti Tenpenny, and DeAndre White on special teams. So, Anthony has been the most consistent performer that we've had probably in the offensive line. Cyrus has done a good job as well, so I'm not making a comparison here, but Anthony's got a lot of experience. I think his leadership and his effect on the other people has been critical in the development of the offensive line. He's tough, he's physical, he's very confident in what he does, and he's played extremely well for us. So I'm pleased that hopefully he'll continue to be able to stay healthy and do those things in the future.
One more if I could. Last week, AJ was in here and talking about the chemistry he's developed with Kevin Norwood, Kenny Bell, guys who have been here a while, and even Eddie Lacy. He said back when he was running the scout team in '09, they were killing Rolando and Javi and all those guys. I was wondering if you remember it that way, or is was he correct?
Yeah, I do remember it that way. I'm happy to see when we put guys on the offensive scout team, especially early in their careers, especially when they're freshmen, that they respond and really compete with the idea that, hey, we're competing against a decent defensive team. So if I can go out here and beat these guys, whether it's running pass routes or throwing the ball or whatever, provide leadership, have fun, improve myself as a player while I'm doing that, that's really going to enhance my opportunities in the future. And, AJ did that, and so did Eddie Lacy. And that made our defensive team better. And that's the kind of attitude that you need and the kind of buy-in you need from every player on the team, so that whatever their role is, they're contributing in a positive way from Sunday through Friday when you're preparing for games to help the team win on Saturday. And those guys did that extremely well.
Two more, John.
Had a two-parter on the running backs for both times. You talked about Arkansas's running game. What have you seen specifically from Alex Collins that impresses you?
Both of their running backs, they run downhill. They run a lot of power plays. They're a very good zone blocking team up front. Their backs do a really good job of understanding how the plays are getting blocked, pressing the hole, making good cuts. Both of their backs have been extremely effective, and Alex Collins has got 720 yards rushing or whatever. That's pretty productive for the games that he's played, and I'm sure that he'd be the first to tell you that everybody else out there is contributing to that by the way they sort of block and give him the opportunity. But he's quick and explosive and a difficult guy to tackle, and he's a really relentless kind of competitor, so he doesn't go down easy. And I think those are all great attributes of a good running back.
Okay, and on your own tandem there, it seems like the last two SEC games, TJ and Kenyon have both been around 100 yards. Can you kind of talk about how they developed as a tandem, how they're both running right now?
Well, we're pleased with both of those guys. I don't think that either one of them has played their best games either in terms of what their capabilities are. We're not disappointed in all in the way they played, but I think that from a consistency standpoint, they would be the first ones to tell you that there's things that they could do better, and we're going to certainly continue to try to get them to improve, even though they've been very productive, and hopefully we'll be able to continue that kind of production in the future. And they had a couple of drops in the game, and just consistency and focus and concentration, good preparation, kind of things that I think bring out the best in people and players is something that we want to continue to work toward.
Okay. Last one on the right.
How much of a step forward for not only Amari Cooper himself, but also the offense was his performance against Kentucky?
I'm not sure.
Amari Cooper, just his role in the offense, it seemed like he had, certainly stats-wise, had a more productive game against Kentucky. How much of a step forward is it for the offense that he gets going?
Right. Well, I think it's very, very important that all of our players on offense have a role in our productive, and we're fortunate to have, you know, really 5 or 6 really good receivers that are all capable of making plays in the game. And I know Kenny had a couple drops in the last game, and I know that's very disappointing to him, but we have a lot of confidence in Kenny Bell, and Andrew White has played well, Christian Jones has played well, Kevin Norwood has played well, and Amari finally back healthy, ready to go, played fast, and was very productive in the game, and I think that's important to us. And I think we have to have roles for all those guys in the game so that they can be productive.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.